The Amazing Spider-Man 2 picks up where the last film left off. Now Peter Parker he's doing very good as Spider-Man. He is about to graduate from high school. He has reunited with Harry Osborn after hearing that his father passed away, and his relationship with Gwen Stacy is complicated. But later on, new villains such as Electro and Green Goblin appear, and now he has to stop them. Why am I not saying the Rhino? Because he's only in the movie for about 3 to 4 minutes. Now, I like The Amazing Spider-Man because it redeemed Spider-Man 3. Spider-Man 3 was not good. You may like Raimi's original trilogy, that's okay, I like the first two, but 3 was bad, we have to admit that. And The Amazing Spider-Man was a really good film, and when I picked it up on the Blu-ray, I did realize that it wasn't as amazing as when I first saw it, but it was still a very good film, and I was really hoping that The Amazing Spider-Man 2 could be, better than it in some way. And it wasn't better than the first Amazing Spider-Man film, in my opinion, because it does have some serious problems. But it is a fun, entertaining movie. Do not get me wrong. Because it's so much fun watching Spider-Man swing around New York City saving people. Cinematography is great, except for one shot that was in a weird place of a man's body from that was a very weird shot, but other than that, it was a good-looking movie, and the action scenes were fun. I had fun watching them. There was one cool action shot where literally everything just froze, and it showed the situation, what was happening, and what Spider-Man needed to solve, and it created suspense as to how. It was incredible. I really liked that scene. And the acting is very good. Gwen Stacy and Peter Parker's chemistry are really great because of Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone. Those guys rock. And speaking of Andrew Garfield, he nails Spider-Man. He has the wit. He knows how he's supposed to be. He's serious when he has to, but he's funny when he's Spider-Man. It is really, really awesome to see someone nail Spider-Man, because Tobey Maguire was good as Spider-Man, but he never really did have the wit. I didn't read the Spider-Man comics, but I did recognize that Spider-Man is a very witty guy. So, of course, I was pleased to see that Andrew Garfield continued his streak of comedy in this one. Jamie Foxx I really liked as Electro. He did a really great crazy guy, even though it was a little bit like Jim Carrey the Riddler, but we're not going to get into comparison. And I really like Dane DeHaan. You may recognize him from Chronicle. He was the guy who lost control. He was Green Goblin, Harry Osborn. He was really good in the movie. At some parts he kind of did overact, but other than that, he was still a pretty cool guy to look at while he's acting. Let's talk about the Rhino. Now, this is where we're going to get into the cons of the movie. Paul Giamatti was not good as the Rhino. No. Paul Giamatti, what were you thinking? You're a good actor. Why did you act the way you did? Really? Because I was really looking forward to see the Rhino in it, and especially hearing that Paul Giamatti was the Rhino, but he was just a Russian guy just doing overacting, and he said that it was the point to overact, but he shouldn't have. It was not good. Even his Rhino suit, the CGI looked terrible for that. I couldn't stand the guy, really, I couldn't. And speaking of CGI, there are some cool shots of Spider-Man swinging, but I know that some of them are actually practical, so I can't really count that a part of the CGI. Other than that, the CGI is okay, because it kind of looks a little cartoonish, but not in the way the Raimi films did. The CGI in Sam Raimi's movies kind of looked like a cartoon, but in the remakes, they've improved it a little bit, yet the CGI still kind of looks like animated-ish, if you know that. But it was still fun. I mean, Electro looked really awesome when he was out of that. CGI worked at some parts, okay? Don't get me wrong. But the CGI at some other parts, for example, the Rhino suit, and Dane DeHaan flying around fighting Spider-Man didn't really look well. The plot of this movie is good, but it definitely does have some jumbled up moments. And that was kind of like the first Spider-Man film, except the first one did it at a little bare minimum. This is a little bit bigger than that, because in the first film, when I got it on Blu-ray, I watched the deleted scenes, and I realized, wow, some of these scenes should have been in the movie, because then more stuff would have been explained. But instead they cut them out for some unknown reason. I'm sorry, director Mark Webb. He's the director of The Amazing Spider-Man, but even though your last name's Webb doesn't mean you're making perfect Spider-Man movies. You need to put those important deleted scenes into the movie, and I'm afraid that with The Amazing Spider-Man 2, yeah, they did the same exact thing. Yeah, I'm afraid they did. And I'm pretty sure if I go get the Blu-ray when it comes out, it will probably have a lot of deleted scenes that should have been in the movie. Like, there are some shots in the trailers that weren't in the movie at all, and there were shots filled with Shailene Woodley, who was supposed to play Mary Jane Watson, but was cut out for some reason. Don't know why. Now, my biggest flaw with the movie is not even a bash against it, it's just the marketing. Sony, what were you thinking? You showed like 70 to 80% of the movie already in trailers and commercials, and what were you thinking? You gave away a lot of great action scenes and action shots that would have been cool to watch if you hadn't included them in. Like, the last shot of The Amazing Spider-Man 2 is in the trailer. Like, one shot. I'm not going to say which one it is, but it's in the trailer, and I'm pretty sure you all can guess which one. Maybe. I don't know. But, yeah, marketing. Sony, what were you thinking? And my final flaw with the movie is a post-credit scene that was too misleading. I was sitting in the theater waiting for it. I knew that there was going to be one. I didn't know what it was about. Then I saw it and learned that it was an X-Men Days of Future Past mid-credit scene. And it was kind of jumbledly edited. So when I first saw it, I was like, okay, this is either a clip or they're trying to set up something for X-Men and Spider-Man, but they edited it weird, or what is it? So I did some research at home, and it turns out that that mid-credit scene was just a commercial to advertise X-Men Days of Future Past. So yeah, guys, you don't have to see the mid-credit scene in The Amazing Spider-Man 2 because it's just a clip of X-Men Days of Future Past, a movie that comes out in 21 days. Look, Fox, I think? Fox makes X-Men? I hope so. Look, Fox, I get it. You want people to see X-Men Days of Future Past. Believe me, I'm already excited. Past X-Men, future X-Men, combining. That's awesome. But you don't have to put a commercial in a movie for it unless it's supposed to set up something, but it's not. So what was the point of that? All in all, it's a really fun film to watch. It has some entertaining moments. It's very funny. Spider-Man is comedic. The acting is good. It's just bad acting from Paul Giamatti. Bad CGI when fighting against Green Goblin, Spider-Man, and some other shots. And a kinda jumbled plot that felt like some scenes were taken out. And a very misleading post-credit scene. I will give The Amazing Spider-Man 2 a B-. I do think you should check it out, but it's not the one I would suggest you have to see it, like, right away. You can see it, like, later in the weekend or sometime. You don't have to see it opening day, but you can see it, like, later on. I saw the film Thursday night at 7 p.m., and it kind of wasn't worth it. It was fun to see at Thursday night, my first Thursday night showing, but I could have seen that later, and it would have been perfectly fine. But have you guys seen The Amazing Spider-Man 2 yet? And if so, what did you think of it? Leave it in the comments below. And as always, I'm Jackson Fulcher. Make sure to subscribe. See you guys later.